It's been making its rounds on Facebook over 48,000 times, and it's raising a lot of eyebrows here at Yuma Sector Border Patrol. And the port director says you can expect this same technology next at the Port of Nogales to help improve border security. Right now, I mean, there's a lot of cars and a lot of people walking around, but otherwise earlier today it was kind of a ghost town, and that's kind of how a lot of residents described it as well. A dashboard retains the most heat. They're sitting at about 120 degrees. Steering wheels, they are looking at 110 degrees. Seats, 105. That's just in the shade. U.S. Senator John Kyle returned to the desert Southwest for the first time since returning to the Senate, replacing late Senator John McCain. You can see behind me just the massive flames engulfing right now. It's a brush fire. That's what we are seeing reports of. The schools in our county. So let's take a look at perhaps one school in our region. And if you are using turn-by-turn guided directions.
Starting route to Yuma.
Getting behind the wheel at early hours in the morning, and they're also on the road for up to 11 hours a day. The best features of Get Air Yuma here at the trampoline park is this challenge course type thing. It's called the Ninja Course. Good evening, Mark. Now those two different armed robberies happened on the same night within an hour of each other. Anthony, that suspect, has now been identified as 27-year-old Edward Ornelas Jr. A lot of questions are still being raised over a comment she made to an officer the night of the alleged incident that she's not a victim. Now that officer testified today in court. Full Smiles, along with its management company Benevis, will have to pay nearly $24 million. Officers just told us that he has been treated and released and has now been booked. So the Yuma County Board of Supervisors chose a Yuma native, Tim Dunn, to fill that vacant seat. They're glad they moved to the Yuma County Fairgrounds this year because it has exceeded their expectations of those who are coming out to trick or treat. It is, and it's beautiful. The sun's rising right now, and we're warming up just a little bit. We started off a little cold, but those donations are hot.
Rise, face the clerk, raise your right hand.
34-year-old Jared Elkins taking the witness stand Tuesday, telling his side of the story.
Like leaning in towards me, closer to me, leaning in, almost like, I'd say cuddling, almost like snuggling with me, to where our heads were almost touching.
He says his accuser made a flirty move when they sat together on this green couch while watching a movie after having dinner out on the town with family.
I felt her breast on top of my hand. Almost kind of took it as a little bit of a flirty with me.
Elkins says one thing eventually led to another.
And then walked over to the end of or side of her bed. It was kind of like a day bed. And I had pulled my shorts down. And we were kissing each other, kissing on the mouth, on the neck.
He says he doesn't think he did anything wrong and that his accuser didn't seem drunk.
At any point during that night, September 14th and September 15th, did you think Sam was too intoxicated to know what she was doing?
No.
But the prosecuting attorney offered audio evidence of Elkins saying the opposite in an interview with detectives. Elkins' testimony conflicting his accusers. She told a different story.
No, please, no, please. Jared, no, I say, Jared, your wife's in the next room.
New this morning, one woman claims a local store has been without air conditioning for weeks now. She spoke with News 11 about what she saw and how she's trying to help the employees and customers keep cool. Marissa Cruz has lived in Yuma for 16 years, and anytime she needs arts and crafts, she heads to Michael's. She knows how hot it can get in Yuma, so her last visit to the store was off.
It was really hot in there. And my son, he's asthmatic, and he's like, the flowers, this is bothering me.
Cruz visited the store Sunday when she asked an employee if the air conditioning was off.
It was just like sweat coming down, and she's just like, yes, the air's been done for 2 weeks.
Cruz says the employees can't speak out or leave because they need the job. So she called and called and called every day since she visited.
Supposedly that they were going to have water coolers, and there was no water coolers. I called yesterday to the Michael's, and they told me, no, there's no water coolers here.
News 11 reached out to Michael's corporate office to see if they were aware of the problem and to see what they were doing to fix it.
Thank you for calling Michael's. You've reached the public relations line. I'm sorry we are unable to take your call at the moment.
But attempts to reach Michael's, even through Twitter, have been unsuccessful. Cruz says the whole situation is sad.
Michael's is a big chain, and they should have it fixed, regardless if it's an old building or not.
Now, we also reached out to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They say excessive exposure to heat in a workplace can cause heat-related illness and heat stroke. OSHA says if you think employees are at risk, to file a complaint with them. Ivany. Pittsburgh native Michael McChesney came to Yuma nearly 5 years ago. He's a U.S. history teacher at San Luis High School, and over the years, there was a growing concern about his salary.
Can't pay the loans, can't make all your car payments. If you do, they're late. Struggling to go to the grocery store and buy $50 worth of food.
Struggling to make it work, McChesney had to move in with 2 other teachers.
It sounds like it's not the norm. It is here. I don't want to live with roommates in my 30s and 40s.
And neither do other teachers that start their career in the state. In fact, 42% of Arizona teachers hired in 2013 left within 3 years. McChesney has seen this firsthand.
We're losing really good, educated, experienced teachers to California, to Colorado, to New Mexico.
That includes McChesney's roommate, Renee Castillo. A Yuma native with 11 years in public education, Castillo faced his own struggles.
I couldn't afford to, own a house if I didn't have roommates, and I've always had roommates.
Leading him to a very difficult decision, leaving his hometown to teach in El Centro.
It's life-changing money. My base salary doubled. Probably drive about 2 hours a day, so 120 miles total.
Even with the cost of gas and the daily commute, Castillo says the pay increase is worth it.
I just bought a car.
Again, we do not want to strike.
Teachers just want to hold Governor Doug Ducey accountable to his plan to raise salaries by 2020. And though they have their own struggles, both teachers say kids are suffering the most.
We do not make competitive wages. The kids at the end of the day right now are losing out.
And unfortunately, a lot of our kids are suffering because they don't have the best teachers. They don't have qualified teachers.
Breaking news coming into our newsroom. President Donald Trump says he plans to end the constitutional right to citizenship for babies of non-citizens born in the U.S. Developing this morning, first, a major port of entry from Mexico to the U.S. was temporarily shut down Sunday. While Governor Doug Ducey is expected to be in Yuma later today, Yuma police are still looking for the arsonist responsible for setting the Mesa Heights apartment complex ablaze. 2 is your time. People in Arizona are remembering and honoring the life of Senator John McCain, who passed away Saturday at the age of 81. Heads up for parents with new teen drivers. A new law goes into effect July 1st that restricts the use of a cell phone behind the wheel. 6:05 is your time. Yuma Sector Border Patrol agents arrested a United States citizen after he's suspected of smuggling 3 undocumented immigrants. Has increased significantly in recent years. It is the 4th species, followed by Arizona wildlife officials on a live cam. Arizona ranked 5th in the nation for the number of immigration laws enacted over the past decade.
I think the promotion's great because, sometimes drinks can get a little expensive on the tab.
Arizona's governor is making sure our first responders are getting the help they need when it comes to their mental health. Yeah, she joins us live in the studio this morning to bring us his story. Ariana. But those temperatures will jump up to the triple digits around noon today. Now, in an effort he calls to keep everyone safe and honest, One Arizona Man's latest app on the iPhone will let you secretly record law enforcement. Well, new light is being shed on a controversial arrest by an Arizona police officer. They ate almost 1.6 million pounds of Skittles. I'd probably eat that in a year.